today is the Career Lunch and Learn. I am Kat Purcell. I'm the career librarian here at Champaign Public Library. We do one-on-one appointments for career assistance, resume reviews, cover letter reviews, practice interviews, and then we do these workshops as well. Today I'm really excited to have Joycesonia Lawson here. She is the founder and owner of Teacher Care Now, and she's going to be walking us through how to manage stress in the workplace. So, thank you.
Thank you, Kat, for that introduction, and thank you all for being here to talk about stress in the workplace. And I'm going to tell you, sometimes when I hear that title, I would just feel a little tension because we're talking about something that can be very personal to people. So hopefully I'll be able to give you some information about stress to make you feel a little bit more comfortable, and also give you some strategies in order to help you deal with this better. Now, to start us off, we are going to participate in a meditation. I love this meditation. This is my favorite meditation. This is the meditation that I would listen to as soon as I got to work every day in order to help me de-stress and be able to be my best at my job. So you can go ahead and just close your eyes and relax as we participate in this meditation.
Hey there, and thanks for gifting yourself these next few minutes. It's important to remember that you're a priority, and allowing yourself even just a few short minutes of intentional reflection can really have a positive impact on the rest of your day. So let's use these next few minutes to come back to center and set an intention for the rest of your day. Move into a comfortable position, whether you're seated at your desk at work or laying on the couch at home, and gently close your eyes and shift all of your attention onto your breathing, taking slower, deeper breaths than you've taken all day so far. Taking a deep breath in through your nose and slowly letting it out through your mouth. And continuing to breathe that way, feeling your lungs expand out as you inhale and contract back in as you exhale. Tune into your body, noticing how it feels. Noticing if there's anything that it's trying to tell you. Notice any place of tension or tightness in your body. And give those areas permission to relax, sending love into those areas. Thank your body for taking such good care of you, and let it know that it's okay to rest and relax for these next few minutes. Notice that your mind starts to wander off. That's okay. That's natural. Just notice it and bring your attention back to your body, using your breath as your anchor. Try to picture one thing that's happened today that's made you smile, or made you thankful or appreciative. And just let that feeling fill you up for a moment. Breathe that feeling in from the top of your head to the tips of your toes. And allow yourself to smile if that feels natural. Now focus on something that you can do today, whether it's for yourself or for someone else, that will allow you to continue feeling this way. It could be something as small as deciding to go to bed early tonight, so that you have time to finally read that book that's been on your bedside table. Or the joy of getting dinner with a close friend. What's one little thing you can plan for your day to bring that intentional joy to it? Now just focus on that for a few minutes. Sit in that feeling of joy and peace. and contract back in as you exhale. Again, an even deeper breath than the one before it. Holding that breath for a beat and exhaling everything out. Last time, your deepest breath yet, sending that breath through your entire body. And exhale it out, and in your own time, slowly bring your awareness back to where you are. And thank yourself for taking these few minutes to just be intentional and kind to yourself. And when you're ready, you can gently open your eyes and enjoy the rest of your day.
So again, this is the first thing that I would listen to every morning when I got to work to help me de-stress, relax, and get focused on the day ahead. And I hope it was just as relaxing for you as it always is for me. Now, listening or sitting for 5 minutes to one meditation, it can be hard for some people. And that is especially if you don't practice it. Anything is hard until you practice it. And unfortunately, with taking care of yourself, a lot of people think that it should be easy just because it's taking care of yourself. But it's not unless you practice. Just like learning how to ride a bike, it didn't take 1 time or 2 times, or learning how to drive or learning to play chess. It takes time in order to get better and also to reap the benefits of it. So it's through consistent practice that you're able to relax quicker and reap the benefits of it. Studies say that it can take 2 to 3 minutes to start to de-stress from a meditation. Just 2 to 3 minutes. And you're worth 2 to 3 minutes at your job. If you need to, just take a moment. All right, and my pointer is not working, so I'm gonna have to stand near the screen. All right, so for our agenda, I'm going to share some stress statistics with you, and then I'm going to talk about understanding how stress impacts the body and productivity, because many people think that they work better when they're dealing with stress. Oh, when I'm under stress, I work better, or that this helps me to multitask. But science says that we don't. You're going to learn about the stress cycle, because it's important to complete that stress cycle so that we don't have stress just built up in us. I'm going to share some stress tips and strategies, and then offer additional support. All right, so we're going to start with just the basic, simple definition of stress from the World Health Organization. Stress is any type of change that causes physical, emotional, or psychological strain. Stress is the way that the body protects itself. Stress is actually there to help keep us alive. If you're driving your car and a child runs out in the middle of the street, you're gonna feel some strain. You might grab your wheel a little tighter, press on the brakes. Your heart may pound a little faster. Or if you're out and about and you're crossing the street and a car comes charging towards you, you're going to have some physical or psychological things that happen to you, and it's meant to keep you alive, to keep you safe. And it's important that we have those things, because you don't want to be too lackadaisy walking across the street. You have to be aware, and this awareness just helps to protect us. So stress in and of itself is good. However, we do have bad stress. And the only difference between the good stress and the bad stress, any type of change that causes prolonged physical, emotional, or psychological strain, that is the only difference. It's prolonged. We haven't let it go. And I know that we've heard that example before. If you're being chased by a lion, you're going to be stressed out. But we know that that's not the case for most of us. But if you're at work and at the last minute, work is pounded on your desk, that can cause stress. And if you do not go through the stress cycle to relieve stress, those same emotional or physical strains that are happening in the body, they continue. And that's when it becomes unsafe. When you're stressed, your muscles tense. But if your muscles never relax, after a while you get used to being tensed. And this is why if you go to get a massage, they'll say, you feel tense because you haven't let that thing go. And so it's important that we let it go. Now, this bad stress, another name for this, and you might recognize this name, it's just chronic stress, the prolonged pressure is chronic stress. And we don't want the stress to become chronic because it can cause other issues. It can cause muscular issues. It can cause issues with your heart. So we want to make sure that we're learning how to relieve the stress. All right, so now I'm going to give you some data, and this is from the American Institute of Stress. And this is about stress levels. Let's go back there. All right, so 62% of American workers experience high stress. And this high stress is that chronic stress. Taking that stress from work, whatever it is, taking it home and not really relieving themselves of that stress, which is very dangerous. This is most of American workers. 33% manageable stress. So most likely they're able to breathe and relax from their stressful situations at work. And 5% low stress, just 5%. And now I'm talking about the causes of stress at work. The number one cause of stress at work is the workload. And as we're experiencing a lot of layoffs, what's happening? If you have a job, most likely more is being placed on you. And if you don't know how to deal with the workload or with that stress, it just makes things worse. Very close behind, people issues at 32%. And sometimes it is hard to deal with people, but when we understand how to deal with people, that does help us with the stress. Work-life balance, 17%. And then job security at 9%. Now, the impact of stress on productivity. 42% of American workers, they lose 15 to 30 minutes per day of productivity. When you're stressed out, it's hard to fully concentrate. It is hard, even though we think that that could be adrenaline, because when you are stressed, yes, you have more adrenaline being released, but your mind could be all over the place thinking about that stressful situation or what could have, should have, or would have happened if something else didn't take place. It impacts productivity. 32% lose 1 hour or more per day of productivity. Sometimes when you're stressed out, some people will take out their phones and watch a video just to de-stress. Or you might go ahead and work on something that's not important, but it makes you feel better. Just to take your mind off of that stressful thing. Oh, I just need a break, and then I'll be able to get back focused. So this is impacting the productivity and the priorities. And finally, 24%, they say that productivity is unaffected by stress. And I really believe that they just don't see how the stress is impacting their productivity. Because like I said, I even used to be one of those people that felt I worked better under pressure. But when we're under pressure, we're not thinking straight. It impacts what is important to us. So when that stress is there and thinking about keeping you alive, it's focused on you. You might not be able to focus on the project that is at hand. But many times we don't even recognize it because it's a way of life after a while. Now we're going to talk a little bit about how stress impacts, well, this is a little bit more about how stress impacts your productivity. It reduces your focus and concentration. It decreases your motivation when you're stressed about something. And it causes poor decision making. So we need to think about these things. And it's important that when we are dealing with stress, we're able to recognize it. The sooner that we recognize it, the sooner we can deal with it. And no one can look at these and say, oh, well, this isn't going to impact productivity. They definitely impact our productivity. Now, there are impacts of stress on our attendance as well, because whenever you're dealing with stress, it impacts your immune system. Your body is not functioning the way that it should be functioning. So you're more susceptible to colds and other ailments as well. So 54% of American workers have missed 1 to 2 days of work per year because of the impacts of stress. 31% have missed 3 to 6 days of work. And 15% have missed more than 6 days of work per year because of stress. And with my story, I had to be placed on medical leave because of the stress that was impacting my life. And I was on medical leave for 10 months because I had ignored the stress for so long that it had gotten bad enough to impact my body systems. So it is very serious. And if we do not address it now, then there could be problems that are far worse later. Now, when we're talking about our body systems, whenever you're experiencing stress, your muscular system and your cardiovascular system, they are on high alert. These are systems that the body says are crucial when we're dealing with stress. Whenever stress happens, you might get tense, and that's because your body is preparing for fight, flight, or freeze. If you need to run, the muscular system is going to be needed. If you need to fight, and it's the same thing when you're talking about work. If you have deadlines, you're going to go ahead and fight and try to make those deadlines. You're going to get more tense because of it. And then your cardiovascular system, dealing with your heart, that adrenaline, when you're stressed out, you have more adrenaline released in your body, and that could be what you need to get through a deadline. So it's good in that situation. However, if it's never released, your body continues to release that adrenaline. And that is where it can become chronic stress and really become a problem. So if these two systems are on high alert when you're dealing with stress, other systems, attention is going to be taken away from those systems in the body. And these are two systems that happen to. Your digestive system, when you're stressed, your digestive system does not work as it should because it is concerned with, oh, am I going to eat again? So it wants to save that food. And this is why you'll hear people say, I'm stressed out. I'm not eating as much, but I'm gaining weight. because your body is holding on to that food because it wants to make sure that it stays alive. And then also your reproductive system. You're not going to feel intimate when you are dealing with stress, but also when a woman is trying to conceive, the doctor may ask her if she's dealing with stress, because that can affect the reproductive system. That is not a system that is helpful to keeping you alive in times of stress. So this right here is the stress cycle. This is what should be happening when we are experiencing stress. So we have the stressor. It could be work, overwhelm, conflict, expectations, criticism, thinking about the future, because that could really stress you out, an argument. It could be anything that could stress us out. And when that happens, the body responds automatically. We don't have to tell it to do anything. Chemicals are released in the body. And we just talked about how the cardiovascular and the muscular systems, they're heightened, while other systems, they slow down. And this is all preparing the body for fight, flight, or freeze. What should happen after that stress is over, there should be acknowledgement. Our body should return to a restful state. This is so important. This is acknowledging that the stress is over. And a lot of times when this happens, we take a deep breath. When something almost happens, or we think we should have done something, and then we found out, oh, I did actually do it. You take a big, deep breath of relief. And your body should return to a restful state. And many times this happens through mindfulness, exercising, relaxing if you need some other things in order to really relax your body. Because many times we take a big, deep breath, your heart is still beating fast. So it's important to have this opportunity. And as often as possible, whenever you're dealing with something, after it's over, go ahead, take a deep breath. Tell your body, you're okay. You are safe. Everything is okay. Because unfortunately, we need to give our bodies permission to relax instead of moving to the next thing, just like that. We always do that. Okay, that's done. Let me go ahead and move to the next thing, and move to the next thing. And after we're doing that for so many times, we just get into a pattern on staying at high alert. And then, guess what? Something else is going to happen that's going to stress us out. And then we'll go through this cycle, or we should go through this cycle. However, many people stay in the danger zone. We have a stressor, and then our body responds by releasing these chemicals, and we get tight and tense in order for our body to fight, flight, or freeze in that situation, and then we go right back to another stressor. We never release that stress. We never give our bodies the time, the attention, the energy to return back to a restful state. Danger zone. We want to make sure that we're getting in this return to a restful state. And I'm going to give you some strategies on how to do that. All right. So the first strategy, morning me time routine. Love this, because I needed this. This is something I did during the last 4 years of my teaching career. Every morning, by the time I got to work, I was already stressed out. Had not walked in the building at all, but it just made my day miserable. When you're starting the day off bad, it ends bad. I can remember driving past work on a Saturday and Sunday and just closing my eyes because of all the negative emotions and feelings that I felt just seeing work. And that's not a positive thing when you're driving. Your eyes really need to be open. But I didn't even want to see the building. So I wasn't at my best at work whenever I started my day off stressed because it just got worse. So I created a morning me time routine that I implemented as soon as I got to work. I needed some me time so that I could be my best for work. And I'm going to go ahead and share with you a little bit about my routine. So the first thing, get to work early. As much as I hated being at work, I needed to get there early to set boundaries for me. And for me, most of the time, as soon as I stepped out the car, my mind was already going on what did I need to do? What did I need to do? I need to do this. I had already started in my head working. But when I got to work early, that was about me. This was saying, hey, I give you the time, the time that I'm supposed to be there, but right now, I need to actually be in the same environment, in the same space, peaceful. It's important to enjoy work. These are jobs that many of us, we prayed for these jobs. We hoped and we wished, and if I could just have this job, this would be the best thing ever. It is a bad feeling to be stressed out about work. That same thing that you wanted so bad, and now it is just hard to be there. Your stomach hurts when you're there. Your head hurts, and and it is hard to get those feelings out. So for me, I needed to feel peace at work. So I started off by getting there early. I would get there 45 minutes early because I needed all of this time. I think for most, 15 minutes, 30 minutes would do. But getting there early and saying, hey, this is my time. I am here early. I'm in my office or my room or whatever it is, but this is my time in order to prepare for you so that I can be better for you. I would leave, I wouldn't do any work. Not yet, not until that bell rang. I didn't do any work. All right, and then I would go through my morning me time routine. And this is what it looked like. I would leave the lights off, and I left the door locked. Because if you're in your office, people just think that they can come in. And I understand that. So when I got to work early, I left the lights off, left the door closed. That was my time. If they called me over the loudspeaker, I was so good at this that I didn't answer. I would not pick up that phone because it's my time. My work hours had not started yet, and I wanted to feel peace in my work environment. And this helped me to get a little bit of control of the situation, because usually while you're at work, you're not in control. You have to respond the way that you're supposed to respond. But doing this, I felt a little more in control, like I could handle whatever that would happen during the day. And then I would participate in a 30-minute meditation affirmation playlist. And that first affirmation that we listened to, that's the first one that I listened to. And every time I listened to that, I smile. It put me in a good mood because I was already grumpy walking into the building. I was already grumpy waking up in the morning knowing that I had to go to work. So this helped me so I could help others at my job. And I want to give you some data about meditation and how it helps us. So meditation, it can reduce stress. It actually improves our memory. It increases our attention, and it enhances willpower. Meditation can reduce pain. It can lower our blood pressure, and it can decrease anxiety and depression. And these last two, these are the two largest mental health issues: anxiety and depression. And affirmations, it was important for me to speak to myself, You're going to be okay, Joycesonia. Today is going to be a great day. You can handle whatever happens today. You have all the tools that you need. Saying those things to myself, definitely, it increased feelings of satisfaction because everyone goes through feeling unsatisfied with their jobs. It can change negative thought patterns. That helped me to say, you know what, this is not that bad. Today wasn't a horrible day. It was a pretty good day. Just by speaking to myself. Can reduce stress and anxiety, boost self-confidence and resilience. We need that self-confidence. If we go into the workday just feeling unsure, unclear, that can cause for a very bad day. And it increases focus and clarity. Because think about the opposite, not being focused and not being clear. That's what happens when you're dealing with a lot of stress. So these affirmations and meditations, they help me. And then afterwards, when I was done, I would still listen to them and listen to the music as I'm setting up for my day. And then I would look through my to-do list and focus on my priorities, which is so important. When you are dealing with stress, everything seems like it's important. It is hard to pick, what do I need to deal with next? But when your mind is clear, you can tell, oh, I forgot to put this on the list and this is very important. Put this at the top. Or let's focus, let's start right here. It helps with that clarity when you are not dealing with stress. And so this helped me. The second strategy I want to share with you is taking a body scan. And a body scan to release stress, it is when you scan your body from head to toe to detect and release any feelings of tension, pressure, or stress. Because sometimes we feel tension, but we're not ready to say that that's stress. We might feel that pressure, but it's not stress, but I feel a little bit of pressure. If you can catch the tension and the pressure before it gets to the stress, it is so much better. So just taking 5 minutes, sitting down somewhere quiet, and starting with your head, and just paying attention to how it feels. If anything is tense or tight, you want to relax and tell it, you're okay. You are safe. You can relax and move down your entire body, just paying attention to your body, because how often do we ignore how our body feels? How often is your head hurting and we just press past that pain? Or your heart is pounding fast and you're like, if I could just, get this stuff done, I'll feel better. We ignore our bodies so much. But we want to move closer to improving and nurturing healing and figuring out what is going on. And this is one of those ways to help to reduce the stress that we may be feeling. The best time for a body scan, before or after work. Always a great time. Before or after a meeting. I would do this if I had a meeting. Hated going to meetings because they always went longer than they should, and someone is always going to ask a question that is just going to keep us there longer. So just taking a body scan before that meeting really helped me to stay focused and to be relaxed. And then your busiest time of day. Before your busiest time of day, if you notice, because that's a good thing to do. Pay attention to your day. When do you get stressed the most? Then before that time, 5-minute meditation, 5-minute body scan, whatever it is that you need in order to build yourself up so that you don't leave that time of day feeling stressed. Or afterwards, That's great too, because you've recognized now you're stressed out about whatever it is and it always happens this time of day. You can counteract it because you're paying attention to your body. All right, we're not going to do a body scan right now. We're going to skip that. But what I've decided to do is to add one to my website. So I'll give you the information so that you can go on there and participate in a 5-minute body scan with me at your leisure. All right. And then the third strategy is the circle of influence. And I want to cover very quickly on the top the first strategy and the second strategy. This is to deal with the stress. But the third strategy is to deal with the stressor. That stressor could be a person or your workload or what have you. It's important to deal with the stress first because you don't want to be stressed out and then you go and talk to someone. You might say something that you'll regret. Remember, we just talked about how we don't make the best decisions when we're stressed. Or answering an email. No, it's better to deal with the stress first and then deal with the stressor. Okay, I'm calm now. Now I can respond to this email. Now I can make this phone call. You don't want to deal, okay, I'm going to deal with him right now. No, don't do that. Wait until you deal with that stress, release that stress, go through the stress cycle. Then you want to deal with the stressor. And since we did talk about the workload being the major stressor for American workers, that's what we're going to focus on. So this is an activity I call the Circle of Influence. And it's from the book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. This is one of my favorite books. We all want to be effective. We want to be effective at our jobs. We want to be effective in our personal life. And he actually has an entire chapter on sharpening the saw. That is taking care of yourself. It is hard for you to be effective if you're not taking care of yourself. Now, I've always thought that should be the first chapter. I think that's because I'm a health and life coach. However, I'm happy that he did address it because you cannot take care of others and forget about yourself and expect to sustain your quality of work. So this is called the Circle of Influence. And this helps people with workloads when we're all over the place. And that's how I used to be. I would handle or insert myself into situations because I wanted to help. But they really didn't have anything to do with me. Or this was not my area of concern. This is not something I was supposed to be handling. But I just cared so much that I wanted to help. But helping was causing more stress. And it just goes through thinking big picture, getting everything out of your head, and then moving from the big to the smaller in order to determine what do I really need to focus on. And I'm not going to go through this activity completely, but it comes with directions, and I'll show you where to get a copy of this. But many times, it is important for us to write things down. When you write things down, you can see it, and you can do, I call it a brain dump. Just getting everything out of my head that I'm dealing with, that I'm going through, get it out of your head and onto the paper. Just get it out. And as you're writing it down, tell yourself that you're releasing this for now in order to see it clearly. Because when things are in our head, it's hard to prioritize. Oh, I need to do this first, and then something else will pop up that you think you need to do first. But writing it down helps us to clarify things. And so there's directions for this as well. So these are the 3 strategies that I wanted to share with you about stress in the workplace. And these strategies work at home as well. And I know that sometimes we say, I don't have time to do this at work. Yes, you might not have time to do the circle of influence, but it's important that you know that you are valuable. You are worth 2 or 3 minutes. You're worth 5 minutes. You're worth your lunch break. You're worth that. You deserve it. And you know what? Your job is better if you do take that time to release the stress so that you can be better. And I know we're talking about for work, but you deserve it just as a human being. And then also to be a better worker, to be a better mom, husband, wife, whatever it is, friend. You want to be able to take care of yourself so that you can impact others. So those are the three strategies. And for additional support, seek out professional help, depending on what level that you're at, because the stress can lead to other issues, cardiovascular issues. I was talking to a doctor recently. He was talking about how so much stress, there are muscular issues because people have been so tense that now it's hard to use your muscles as much because you've been living in a state of being tense because of stress. So we don't want the stress issues to turn into larger problems. So talk to a professional, whether that's your primary care doctor, therapist, life and health coach, whatever level you need. We also have 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. You can text them at any time to talk to them if needed. There's resources out there, and especially because we've had such a big issue with them that now they're being addressed. And also we have NAMI Champaign. They do workshops here as well on different areas that could be helpful because we want to go ahead and be able to cope better with stress now. Don't wait until it gets to a point the way that it happened to me and I had to be placed on medical leave and could not work. Take the time now. You deserve it. Yes, you have 2 or 3 minutes. Never tell yourself, well, I don't have time. You have 2 or 3 minutes. You're worth that time. And that's more the issue. It's not that you don't have that time. You have to believe that you're worth that time. And for additional support, if needed, I would love to offer you a 45-minute free health and wellness coaching session. You can go to this QR code right here to schedule, and then also all of the worksheets that I talked about, you are able to access from my website, joycesonia.com. That's JoyceSonia.com. And when you go to the website, I think I can pull it up from here. There's some great information here. There's a stress test down here. How stressed are you? And then I have a podcast, Enjoying Your Health and Wellness Journey with Joycesonia. There's 100 episodes in there talking about my health and wellness journey, because when you learn something that works, that doesn't mean that you're not going to be tested. You know, I have to intentionally wake up every day and decide that I'm going to listen to my body. I'm going to do what is best. And I don't always hit the mark 100%, but just understanding my body and realizing when it is stress, that helps me so that I don't let things go too far. And if you go over here to resources, right here, there's a whole section on stress with most of the worksheets that I talked about. And I know the circle of influence is under boundaries. That helps us to build up boundaries in our lives. Boundaries are so important. So you have that information there on the website, and then the QR code here. I am here if I can help you out in any way. Thank you so much. Turn it back over to Kat.
Sorry, I turned my mic off while you were doing your stuff, so feedback wouldn't happen. Now I can't get it turned back on. Well, thank you so much, Joycesonia. I really appreciate you coming back out to the library. It's always a joy to have you, and this is such important skills that have helped me in my workplace. And as much as I love the library, stressors happen here too. So I really appreciate you coming back out, and thank you all for attending. We've got a few extra minutes. If you've got questions, feel free, but I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera off. Thank you.